Hi, everybody, and welcome to our Q&A event about how to start out as a crypto investor. I've had so many requests from you, my followers, for information on how to safely invest in crypto, or most of you will ask me about Bitcoin specifically. And I think the word safely is actually the key word here, because apart from all of you asking me, how do I go about doing this? For every one of you asking me the question, there's someone writing to me that they've been scammed. In fact, this week alone, I've had 2 people who have been scammed as a result of a crypto, fraudsters out there. And, people fall for it. They say, oh, you contact me on Telegram. I will make you an absolute fortune. And I think what people don't realize is how easy it is to actually buy Bitcoin yourself and to do this all yourself without having to hand your money over to some dodgy person on Telegram or social media. So today is about understanding how to do just that. Now, I am not an expert on crypto or investing. I dabble a little bit, but I'm not an expert. I'm also learning. So to answer all your questions, I have Eva Crowell joining me from crypto exchange Luno. She's an expert on the topic, but she is also head of crime or financial crime at Luno. So welcome, Eva, because I think probably the topic of scams is going to come up today quite a bit. So welcome, Eva, and thanks so much for coming and helping me answer all the questions that we're going to be getting in, no doubt, from all the viewers. But I want to start off with this question. And I think this is the most important one, is where does crypto fit in to your investment portfolio? How should we look at crypto in this world of investments?
Yeah. Hi, Maya, and welcome everybody viewing. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm happy to take you guys through some of the questions that I know a lot of people have around this very exciting new technology and investment opportunity. So I think to answer your question, when you look at investing in crypto, it's very much like your normal investment strategy. So it fits into a strategy where you diversify your risks a little bit, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and make sure that when you do invest, you invest with a reputable crypto exchange, and that you educate yourself around, obviously, the risks of the product, and that you are aware of by and large how to keep your funds safe and how to maximize your investment in that sense.
And I think that's very important, because the thing with crypto, and I see a lot of people, they feel like they hear someone's made money, so they think, oh, wow, let me go and cash in my pension fund and invest it in crypto, or I'll borrow money from someone. In fact, I think quite a lot of people are putting it on their credit card, hoping to make a quick buck. I mean, how do you... Yeah, I mean, I think this is perhaps the danger of it, the danger of that get rich quick feeling.
I think by and large, I would agree with you. So one of the most important things to understand about cryptocurrency is that even though we're dealing with, for example, Bitcoin, I'll be talking a lot about Bitcoin today because I feel that that's a coin that everybody kind of can relate to and knows most about, or has at least heard most about. So when you look at Bitcoin, at the moment, a whole Bitcoin is worth around 920,000 Rand. Now, that's a massive amount of money. And in fact, a couple of weeks ago on our exchange, if you held a Bitcoin, you would have been a millionaire. And as much as that is very appealing for a lot of people, I think it's important to understand that you can start small. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can start on the Luno platform for as little as 10 Rand. You can start investing in Bitcoin. Opening an account is very easy. It's very painless. And after just downloading the app, depositing a little bit more of money, start playing around with it, get a feel for what it's doing. And definitely, I agree with you, Maya, taking on loans and cashing out your pension fund and maxing your credit card to get on the crypto journey is probably not a great idea. And like I said, it's also not necessary, because with a little money, as little as 10 Rand, you can go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe, and I think I have to be honest, that's the approach I've used. It's that I've kind of dabbled a little bit. I put in a little bit of money, seen how it grows, feel comfortable setting up perhaps a few things like repeat buy, which we'll get into a little bit later. But maybe it's just good for people to see how to actually open an account, because This is one of the big areas that I come up with problems when it comes to Luno or any of these crypto exchanges. Is there's so many fraudsters out there who actually pretend. I have to tell you quite a funny story. I actually put out on Twitter today, just reminding people about it, and I put in the Luno. I linked Luno in, right? Except that it took on a fake account. I didn't put in Luno Global. I just clicked on @Luno, and that's a fake one. These people are constantly trying to pretend to be Luno. So that is, that is a massive challenge.
It definitely is.
Even when we were cut off earlier, you were really talking about how to start safely. Like, how do you open an account and how do you make sure that you're investing safely? So I'm going to put up your slides now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maya. And welcome again, everybody. So I think what I wanted to just talk you through today is to show you how easy it is to set up a wallet. So what you do is you either go to the Apple Store or Android Store, or you go to www.luno.com and then /sign up. And there you can also directly either scan the QR code with your phone and then download the app, or sign up even on web. So when you sign up, we ask you for your email and we ask you for a password, and obviously confirm that you're not a robot these days, and you can sign up. You can even sign up using your social media details like Facebook or Google, or your Apple profile. But in any event, what's going to happen is that we're going to send you an email, and you're going to confirm that that email address for us. Then we're going to ask you to create a PIN number. Now, this PIN number is important because it's the PIN number that's going to keep your wallet safe on your phone. Then we're going to ask you for your mobile number, and we're going to verify that mobile number with an SMS. So you're going to get an OTP code, a 4-digit code, and to confirm your number. Now, what that's done effectively is that it's created your profile with your email address and your phone number. And going forward, we'll use that email to send you all sorts of confirmation emails around your transactions, and also keep you abreast of what's going on with the product, etc. Now, in order for you to activate your profile and be able to start depositing and trading in crypto and investing, we're going to have to take you through some what we call KYC or FICA measures, and that we do in the profile section. So you can see here on the far right side, we're going to ask you to set up your profile. It's going to ask you a couple of simple questions, nothing too complicated. And once you're done answering the questions, I've just put a small snippet on here. There's a couple more questions that will take you through that flow. And then what we're going to ask you lastly is to just confirm your identity. Now, we do this so that we make sure that nobody's creating fake profiles using your identity. The reason and how we do that is asking you to take a photo of your ID document that will then be uploaded to your profile. We ask you to take a selfie, and you can submit all of that in one go to our platform. It's quite intuitive. It's very self-explanatory. We guide you all steps of the way as to how you have to take the selfie and what a good document picture looks like, etc. So no need to panic there. And then once that's done, what we do is that information is reviewed, and if all in order, usually it is, we pretty much instantly send you an email saying you're all set. Thank you so much for giving the information, and you can start purchasing crypto. By touching on that button here in the email, it takes you directly into the profile. Whether you do that on the mobile phone, you should be able to access your wallet now immediately. All right, so as you can see, Maya, it's really not complex to set up a Luno wallet. It takes a few minutes, and then you're ready to go.
So Eva, how do I know that I'm dealing with Luno? And as I said, I mean, it's probably one of the most, there's so many hackers out there, so many people mimicking Luno. You've just gone to Facebook, and I know you guys are constantly taking the stuff down, but how do I make sure that when I either download the app or that I'm actually downloading the correct one?
Yes, that's a very good question, and one that we can imagine a lot of people nowadays have. We do unfortunately see a lot of fake profiles. So I think there's a couple of things that you can look at. The one thing is that the safest way to make sure that you have the correct application, and it's actually the most up-to-date version of our app, is definitely by going to www.luno.com and then clicking on sign up. What that will do is it will give you the option to either directly sign in on our website, so through the web portal, or there's a QR code that will pop up at the bottom of your screen, and you can just take your mobile phone and you scan that QR code, and it will automatically take you to the right version of the app in your app store. So whether that's Apple Store or Android, and you can download it from there. It's also good to just look out for our logo. We see a lot of people using the name and sometimes variations of the logo. But if you go again on the website, www.luno.com, you can see that there's quite a distinct Luno logo that you can look at. And when in doubt, really just go to the website and use that QR code.
But you do really need to be very, very careful, because I mean, I was saying earlier, if you I don't know if those of you, some of you knew on after the technical glitch, but I was saying that today I just put out on Twitter a reminder about today, and I put @Luno, and it pulled up, and Luno's handle on Twitter is actually at Luno Global. I just put Luno. Turns out it's a fake Luno Twitter account. So it's really, we have to be very, very vigilant. And I think that is part of the safety, is you're going to have to be vigilant. But I've had a question here, and I think it's probably worth asking this question now. Neva asked, what happens if you forget your password? Now that's a good question, Neva. I'm forever forgetting passwords for things. What happens if you forget your password?
So luckily, when you sign in, there is a forgot your password link that you can click, and you go into a password recovery flow with us. End of the day, if you're really stuck, and sometimes it happens that people, for example, change mobile phones or mobile numbers even, and they're not able to recover that password, because when you recover the password, we send you a confirmation SMS to your number. Now, if you're like me and you have a tendency of losing your phone everywhere and anywhere, including your SIM card, you end up with quite a lot of mobile numbers, and it's really tricky to remember which one it was again. So in those cases, there is always an auxiliary support system in the form of our help center and in the form of our amazing customer support team that you can contact, and then they will guide you through what we call the password reset. I guess the best thing is to just try and remember it as well as you can, for as long as you can.
I also just thought I'll pop on here, because I've also got the, if you want to go directly to the App Store, maybe we can just put that on now, direct to App Store. I'm busy putting this in now, because I'm trying to give you guys the safest way to get onto this app, so none of you land up in the wrong place. But and I think it's we also spoke, Eva, about how little you actually need to start. So is there an example of a minimum amount? Does Luno have a minimum amount that you need to invest?
Yes, actually, we ask you for 10 Rand. So I think the big myth, Maya, around crypto, especially nowadays, is that you have to be like half a millionaire to be able to invest, right? That's definitely not the case. It's also a very bad idea to start cashing out pension funds, provident funds, maxing credit cards to get enough funds together to invest in crypto. On Luno, you can, as I just demonstrated, just open a wallet and you deposit 10 Rand and you're good to go. Obviously, if people want to invest more, they're more than welcome to do so. But we really want people to do so in a safe way and in a responsible way. So yeah.
And I actually want to get onto that. Also, just talking about safe and responsible ways is how do you create a strategy? And I was just showing whilst I was waiting for you to come on to reconnect with us, I was looking at showed a graph of what Bitcoin looks like in 1 week, and it is very, very volatile. So what is the best way of actually buying? How do you know, like, you're not going to buy today and it's going to be down 12% tomorrow? Is there a strategy that one could use?
So we obviously, there's a couple of common investing strategies that we see, and yes, crypto is very very volatile, but which one works for people kind of depends on a couple of factors. For instance, how risk adverse you are in your investments plays a large part, and also the time that you want to commit. What we see a lot happening is in that sense is almost two ways of investing. You have people that really get the crypto virus and that put a lot of time and effort into following the price and buying and selling at kind of the right times and making profits in that sense. That's fantastic if you're up for that. And because it's a big commitment, and it also requires a little bit of knowledge around how cryptocurrencies work and what the market might be doing, etc. For our average investors, our everyday people that just want to get their feet wet and invest a little bit in crypto, what we see is something that's commonly referred to as HODL. Now, HODL is a bit of a joke on back from the old days of crypto in the Bitcoin poster world, as well as holding on for dear life, which basically means you invest and you wait for that money to give you a return long term. So there you really take a long-term strategy on your investment portfolio and put money away for a longer period of time, rather than just trading on a day-by-day basis. Yeah, so that's basically, I think, the best advice to give at this point.
And what about sort of what I would call rand cost averaging or dollar cost averaging? Because you've actually got that built into the Luno system. So that's kind of this. I mean, I'm a big fan of what I just call the debit order buy. Where you just every month it goes off, and we know there's so much research to show that dollar cost averaging actually makes the best returns over time, because you're not trying to time the market, you're just buying, and sometimes the share, or in this case the Bitcoin's up and sometimes it's down. So how does the repeat buy actually work?
So thanks for asking. Repeat buy is for us a really good way of getting people into the habit of investing. I think in general, from an economic literacy point of view, it's really important for us South Africans to start really becoming savvy around investing on a structural basis rather than just once off. And repeat buy really is an answer to that demand from the first time. So it's like you said, you can set it up in the app. What it does, it allows you to select a preset amount of coin that you want to buy, so cryptocurrency that you want to buy each month. And each month it goes off as a debit order and it just gets added to your crypto portfolio. What that does is basically two main things. The first one is it gives you peace of mind that you don't have to actively think about investing, because if you're anything like us, then at the end of the month sometimes it's like, shit, I forgot, and then another month passes. And then the second thing is that you can, like you said, take advantage of that averaging out of the value. Crypto is volatile. So what you want to do is you want to take a strategy that allows you to put money aside on the longer term and make optimal advantage of leveling out of that volatility of price.
So just to check, when you do the repeat buy, do you need to transfer money into your wallet, from your bank account into your sort of cash wallet with Luno, or does Luno pull a debit order from your bank account? How does that work?
It's a debit order, yeah. So you don't have to do
Okay, so you actually set it up as a debit order. And how do the costs work around that? I mean, one of the big questions is, of course, what does it cost me to to do a to buy and sell Luno? Or not buy and sell Luno, to buy and sell Bitcoin on Luno.
Yeah, so I wouldn't recommend anybody to purchase Luno at the moment. I don't think we're for sale. But definitely I can give you an overview. I think I put something, just a short overview for you guys to show. Then when we talk fees, we by and large on the deposit and withdrawal side look at the method that you use to deposit money into your Luno account, and then also the method you use to withdraw it. So on the deposit side, if you do a normal bank EFT, we don't charge you a fee, and same for when you want to withdraw that money back into your verified bank account, we don't charge you a fee. Now, if you are a little bit more, if you want to just have that money in your wallet instantly, you can use instant EFT, and we charge you 1.4% of the money that you deposit into your wallet. The same for when you withdraw. If you want to have an express withdrawal, we charge you 20 Rand. The instant buy and sell is another option where you basically directly buy crypto, and that's 2% of the crypto price that you're buying. And then we generally don't allow cash deposits, so I want to just, we put it on here, please don't deposit cash, because if you do, we're going to charge you a penalty and we're going to return it to your bank account. So that's not a great experience. So best to stick with EFT, instant EFT, and then that repeat instant buy and sell. So if you maybe want to look at what that kind of works out to, because these are a lot of numbers, but what do they actually mean? Say you want to invest 1,000 Rand worth of cryptocurrency. And like I said, Bitcoin is the most known one. So let's stick with Bitcoin. If you would do that on instant buy and sell or via repeat buy, we'd charge you 2% of that purchase price. So if we say it's a one-on-one correlation, it will leave you with 980 Rand equivalent in Bitcoin directly. If you do it via instant EFT, we charge you 14 Rand, leaving you with 986. And if you do it via normal EFT, you would have the full 1,000. Now, obviously, on instant EFT and normal EFT, what you are going to be confronted with possibly is volatility in the crypto price, because you now have your rands in your wallet, but you still need to buy the crypto. So you got to be, so that's something to take into consideration. That's not a fee we charge, but it's just price volatility that we obviously don't control. Whereas with instant buy and sell, because you buy directly into the cryptocurrency, you don't have that problem. And even more so with the repeat buy and sell, because you have that long-term evening out of that volatility that's happening.
Okay, so it's quite interesting. I mean, obviously you pay for, if you say, I want it at this price, you're going to pay for that if you want it instantly. Otherwise, because I think it takes about 2 days, to transfer money into your wallet, or you sit there with money in your cash wallet and you buy as you see fit. I suppose that would be
true.
Now, Eve, I wanted to ask you this question. Something that has come up a lot from people who, when I said what questions you want answered, was not your keys, not your crypto. So there's a lot of people are saying, you know what, you shouldn't hold your crypto. You buy your Bitcoin on Luno. You shouldn't keep it on Luno because it's not safe. You need to put it onto your own hardware. Because if you don't own it, you don't have the keys or the effectively the private keys, the password to it. It could be stolen or hacked. Do you want to respond to that?
So I think it's a legitimate concern, especially with the attention that we're seeing currently around security and hacking and people's accounts being taken over. So I get that people are very reluctant to leave their money with an exchange. I think, though, it's very important to understand that keeping your crypto in your own storage, so in your own wallet, is a very technically complex matter. It requires quite an in-depth understanding of how the technology actually works, quite nitty-gritty level. And what you're effectively doing is you're taking your virtual bank account and you're putting it on a USB drive and you're putting it somewhere in your home, right? So that's how safe you're keeping your funds then. Yes, obviously there have been exchanges that have been hacked and funds have been lost. But if you look at the more reputable exchanges, and there are quite a couple in the world, Luno definitely being one of them, a lot of time and effort is spent on making sure that your funds are as safe as we can keep them. And actually, when we start investigating these so-called hacks and attacks, what on a consumer level more often than not happens is that customers get persuaded to surrender their login details or their account number, or they get persuaded to deposit money into somebody else's wallet without really realizing it. So those are not your typical cyber attack hack-like scenarios. Those would be more your phishing scenarios. So going with a reputable exchange that really takes pride in having a lot of security measures in place and treating your wallet with the same respect as you would your bank account might actually be a better idea than storing all of your crypto on a hardware somewhere in your house, or even worse, anecdotally, in the beginning of Bitcoin, there were people printing out their keys and losing it to wives throwing it in the fire, dogs eating the paper. And I mean, it's hectic. It can get quite.
This is true. Yeah. There's so many stories of the lost Bitcoin because people have lost their keys. And it's like literally, you've lost the keys. They can't get it back, and it's floating around in cyberspace.
And I think that's something that people don't realize, right? When you start thinking about, okay, let me just store this myself. The complexity that's involved with keys and codes and the things that you need to think about when you do these things, they're quite onerous, right? So you need to be very, very secure in your own knowledge and expertise on how to deal with these, and definitely don't lose the key, because you lose the key, you lose everything. That's something to your earlier point around password recovery, from a Luno perspective, we kind of take care of that problem for you. We just need you to keep your details and your account safe.
So how do I know that Luno is a trusted platform? Let's be honest now. So you're saying, a reputable platform. What makes Luno reputable? This is a totally unregulated space.
Yes, 100% true. I personally, as obviously head of financial crime, hope that that's going to be very short-lived in South Africa. I'm really hoping for regulations to come through as soon as we can, because it's very, very important. And in fact, Luno self-regulates. So even though we're not an accountable institution per se, we act and we do everything as if we were. That's point number one. The second thing is that we are ISO certified. So we go through the trouble of getting security certifications to make sure that everything is top notch. Again, we spend a lot of effort making sure that this is the safest place to store and trade cryptocurrencies. And then I think, thirdly, on the custodian side, obviously people say, well, crypto is virtual, right? So what gives me the security that that money actually exists? And to that point, we went through an exercise earlier this year with Mazars to actually have that audited. We wanted black and white to have on paper that customer funds represent a capital value with Luno. And we got that. So I think if you put those three together, right, the self-regulation as if we were a bank, the certifications that we do on the ISO standard, on the ISO certification side, as well as that audit that we've had done on the actual the capitalization of the funds, I think that to me is really what makes us a reputable and a safe platform.
And I would like just to talk about how to transfer money from your bank account to Luno, because that's another one that I've picked up a lot of, and I actually want to get into a little bit of the scams with you, just so that people are aware of them. But, how do you know that you're depositing it into your Luno account? And really the importance of making sure you only deposit into your Luno account.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. So when you start depositing your crypto, like I just showed you guys, there's two main ways of doing that. The one is a normal EFT, bank transfer, and the other one is an instant EFT. So what you do with a normal EFT, you go into your wallet once it's activated, and you basically select that you want to purchase that you want to top up your wallet, you want to deposit money, and it gives you an option. And in fact, we give you a warning there that says, be very careful who you actually send this to, and it can take a bit of time before it actually reflects in your wallet. And what we also do is at the top of the page, we give you a BX reference. Now, that BX reference is very important, because that BX reference is your unique reference number that belongs to your account. So if you deposit money into your account, make sure that the reference that you use is the BX reference that belongs to your account. If you send it to a different BX reference, it means that you're effectively sending it to somebody else. So I know that there's been a lot of confusion around with our customers that have sent money to a BX reference that turned out not to be theirs. So that's a very important one to always check, that you're sending to the correct BX reference number, because you might be sending to somebody that doesn't have your best intentions at heart. So always make sure that you double check you're sending to the correct BX reference number. From there, it's insertion of the amount, and you basically send it off, and it's good to go. Then on the instant EFT, that's even easier. Unfortunately, this is not supported by all banks, but it's supported by the main South African banks. There you can actually use our integration with PayU, and it goes directly into your wallet. So there you don't have to worry about that BX reference. You can just use PayU. You go and you select PayU as the deposit option. You select the amount, and it will take you through the flow. You'll have to do some authorization for the payment, and then it's instantly in your wallet. So no BX worries there.
And I've had a question from Dembisa saying, how long does it take from other banks besides Standard Bank So if you're transferring like from a Absa or Nedbank account, how long does it normally take to get to reflect in your Luno account?
So in spite of it not being Standard Bank, we try our best to keep it as quickly as possible. But unfortunately, we rely a lot on the banks themselves, so it can take up to 2 days in that case.
And I think that's important because that's, do you then pre-fund the account so that you've got the money sitting there, or you've got to do the instant EFT, which costs you an extra 1.4%. So I think it's that one has to look at that as an option. Is anything more on the bank? Because I've got more questions coming through here.
No, I think if this is clear for everybody, then we can definitely move on to some questions.
And we'll get to the scams just now, but one of the scams is that people think that Luno has the money. So I get people saying, but I've paid it to Luno and Luno's got my money. But they need to understand it's like a bank account. Luno doesn't, it's like saying, I've paid it to FNB or Absa. Well, what was the bank account that you gave? Yes. I think that's important as well.
Very much so. Yeah, that's why that BX reference is so important, because effectively it's the unique identifier that belongs to your wallet. And for ease of reference, you can think of your wallet like your bank account with Luno. So if you transfer money to us, you deposit money into your account, you need to make sure that it's going to the right account, which is that BX reference number that it goes to. We don't own customer funds. We're merely the custodian and the facilitator of the exchange and the platform. But customers own their own funds. So that means that when they do make a transfer, they need to make sure that it's going to the right wallet address, which is using that BX reference.
So Nadia asks, she's been using Luno and she's extremely user-friendly, but when will you be bringing new altcoins onto Luno? So just maybe run through which of the coins you can buy at the moment on Luno, and then if you're adding further.
Sure. We currently support Bitcoin, so BTC. We support Ethereum. We support XRP. We have a USDC, so US stable coin that we support. We have Litecoin that we support, and we have Bitcoin Cash that we support.
And are you going to be adding more on?
So we're always looking at adding more coins. The only thing that's really important for us, and first and foremost, is that we want to make sure that when we offer customers the opportunity to purchase coins, we stand behind that. And the way that we do that is we do an extensive due diligence process on new coins before we allow them to be purchased on our platform or traded on our platform. So depending on the due diligence, we allow or not allow. And we do that because we want to make sure that when we offer coins, because of the novelty of cryptocurrency and the volatility, and we just want to make sure that we offer customers a coin that's stable and reliable.
So I think maybe I'm going to put you on the spot quickly, maybe unfairly, but if you're starting to invest and you've got several coins as you're already on the Luno platform, where do you start? Which one would you start investing in, or do you maybe split them? I mean, what's the idea there?
So splitting is, so first and foremost, I think it's again boils down to a lot of personal preference and a little bit around crypto savviness as well. The more you know about certain coins, the more you're able to formulate your own personal preference in your investment strategy. What we see by and large is customers investing in either Bitcoin, BTC, and a lot of customers investing in Ethereum. Ethereum has had a tremendous performance over the last year, but it does come with some downsides when you're talking about buying and selling, and it's a relatively expensive coin to purchase. Then that's just one of the things. The other one, obviously, Bitcoin is the most well-known one, and it's also probably the one that's most user-friendly. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's a lot of information that you can find on Bitcoin and how it works and where it's coming from. So it boils down to personal preference, but what we usually see people do is invest, get their feet wet, so to speak, with Bitcoin or Ethereum.
And go from there. I see Pinky's asking, and I know this is a good question, Pinky, because I know the answer. Can a customer earn any interest or rewards on idle funds in their main account? And are there any options to stake coins on Luno?
So the answer is yes. We have a savings wallet. It's a BTC savings wallet where you can put money in and you earn interest. I am not 100% sure what the interest is at the moment because it does somewhat fluctuate. But that's definitely something that we offer.
And because you also have one where you can, I think you can also lend out your Bitcoin. There's something on the site. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit confusing. So the lending piece is probably what you're alluding to is that savings wallet component where obviously that savings capital is lent out. That's how the interest is then earned. Yeah.
Okay. And then let's just deal a little bit with the scams, because I tell you, just this week I had 2 people. I know this happens every week. Just this week, 2 people saying, is it normal for someone to ask me to pay them to release the funds? And I said to them, hold on a second, what are you talking about? No, there was this guy on Telegram. I deposited my money in, and now I want my money back because he says I've doubled my money. And he says, well, you need a recommitment fee, or you need a cash out fee. You need to pay another 10,000. And I'm like, okay, that's a scam, right, guys? Sorry, but any of those are scams. I mean, I would go as far as to say that if you're dealing on Telegram, you are in a scam. Okay, I haven't come across anyone who's legit on Telegram in terms of investing your money and giving it back. But maybe we just can talk a little bit about the scams that people need to be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. So funny enough, Maya, people tend to avoid me on Telegram. I think what I have is just a short overview, just for people to take note of. Scams are definitely on the rise, and they have been for a while now. And I think it's sometimes very difficult for people to really distinguish what's real and what's fake, especially because we're dealing with such a new technology. It's really difficult for people to gauge, like, well, maybe this is common practice, right? Maybe I should pay a fee to release my money. Well, the short answer is that's not the case, right? And to your point, it's very likely to be a scam. So there is a help center that we have from a Luno perspective where you can go, and it gives you much more information on how to spot a scam and what you can do when you think you've been a victim of a scam, and what type of scams exist in the world. I've put a couple of examples on the screen, and they might be a little bit small, but you'll find that sometimes you get a message, an SMS or an email or Telegram saying, you know what, I can help you make a huge profit. Be very wary, right? Yes, crypto is super volatile, but if something looks too good to be true, it very likely is. So be very wary of when people offer you high returns, offer to trade on your behalf. That's why we have put that second one there is we don't give financial advice. We don't have financial advisors. We don't have brokers. We don't have intermediaries working for us. So if you are approached by somebody that says that they're working for Luno and they can invest on your behalf, that's very likely not to be true because we don't employ those people. We also will never ask you for your password or your one-time PIN, so your OTP, or your 2FA code that you can enable on your device. That's just not part of our process. We don't need that information to keep you safe or to restore things for you. So we will never ask for it. We also will never contact you directly on Telegram or WhatsApp or social media unsolicited. That's not what we do. So if you get a message and it says that it's Luno, that's not the case. We have some addresses here that I've put down of when we do contact customers, for example, because they need to reset a password that they forgot, or because they have logged a query with us, there's some general email addresses that we use. So make sure that you can see that it's coming from that email. And then what is very important, especially when you get those SMSs or or sometimes WhatsApp messages even nowadays that tell you to click on the link to secure your information or to update your wallet or whichever instruction it deems you to have to do. If it's not from www.luno.com, it's not us. So that's something that always you have to look out for when you have those SMSs. It gives you that blue code that says click here. If that doesn't say www.luno.com, it's not us. And secondly, it's very unlikely that we actually contact you in that way to begin with.
Well, I got one yesterday, I think it was. I mean, I've actually got my SMS sitting here saying, exactly that. It says, failure to authenticate, almost identical to yours, click here. And I get them all the time. I mean, they come in forever. And I think, if you've got a Luno account, it can be a little bit, it can be a little bit confusing. And you think, well, maybe what happens? But I suppose if you are in doubt, how do you contact Luno to confirm whether or not there's a problem with your account?
So you can go to the help center, and there you can actually log a query or ticket with our customer support center, and they will contact you to resolve your query. So if you are in doubt, go to the help center, and if you, after you're reading through what's there, and we have some videos that we post there. We have lots of educational things around how to solve problems, also how to solve some of the problems on your account yourself. If you still are not comfortable or you haven't resolved your query, you can always contact the customer support center from there.
And I think that's it. When people say to you, I paid money to Luno, what do I can't find it, or something's happened, I say, well, contact the call center and deal with it. But the problem is, I always discover then it was all done through a scamster, and they don't even know that Luno exists. And the other one that I've picked up a lot of is on Facebook. So on Facebook, we see a lot of Luno investment clubs. And it tries to mimic Luno a little bit. It's not Luno. It's not, like you said, you don't have salespeople, you don't have investment clubs, you don't have any of that. So this guy's saying deposit money into this code here, this BX number. It's a scam, right? Just don't do it. Just look after your own money. It's not rocket science. You can start off yourself. You can buy a few Bitcoin, as Eva was saying. It's not difficult, but please just be very, very, very careful of third-party people. As I said, honestly, I haven't come across any that aren't scams yet. Maybe I still will, but that seems weird. I've had another question through here, which I think is also an important one, which is, can I pay somebody else in Bitcoin? So, if somebody, we're starting to see Bitcoin being used as a currency. So if I have Bitcoin sitting in my Luno account, can I pay a third party with them, or can I be paid in Bitcoin?
So you effectively, if both parties allow for settlement in cryptocurrency, then the answer is yes. I have a coffee shop down where I live that actually also allows me to pay for coffee in Bitcoin. So we're reducing a little bit of an adoption of it being used for more common everyday things. So yeah, there's nothing holding you back from doing that.
So how do you do it? Do you just need to put in their wallet account details? How
Yes.
does it? Yeah. Okay.
So you say sell, and then you insert the wallet address of the person that you're selling it to, and away you go.
Okay, great.
Some
And is there? I mean, obviously you've got. Sorry.
And some merchants even have a whole instruction code where you buy your coffee and you can just look at it and insert it in the wallet, and there you go.
Great.
Just make sure you get the coffee though before you do that.
I think what's difficult about Bitcoin is you're not actually sure how much you're paying for that coffee in fiat currency. So
it could be a very expensive coffee. Yeah.
Bitcoin just suddenly went through the roof and you didn't know. So one has to be careful. But I just want to say thank you, Eva. If there's any other questions coming in, now's your last chance to do so. But I think for me, this has really given, here we are. Now the questions are coming in. Usually when I say I'm about to wind up, but don't worry, we will stay on and answer them. What is the difference between a wallet address and the key? So you're talking, I think one's the private keys, yeah.
Yeah, so a private key is effectively the key to your wallet, whereas a wallet address is an address that's linked to the wallet that you hold, either private or on an exchange. So that's the difference.
Yeah, but if you had a wallet with Luno, you wouldn't need a private key.
No.
You only need
We
the
don't-
private key if you're holding your wallet, yourself on your computer or on your hard drive.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I would like to know how I can identify them. I'm not sure, Tumelo, you may need to explain what you mean by that. And thank you, Timbisa, for saying that this is so helpful. I'm glad this helped. And I think, it's probably not, I think there's so many chat rooms and things that are a lot more sophisticated, maybe for the one talking about, do you do this and do you do that and do you trade here and do you trade there? But there's not a lot about just simply the basics of, I want to explore this. I want to know more. I've heard about this. How do I start off by putting even couple of $100 in and just seeing it? And I think that we've really explained it very well, Eva, and it's very easy to do. I've been doing that. I've been testing it out, trying this, trying that, buying different, coins, and just learning and finding my way around it. So I think that it is an easy platform to work on. And yeah, I think the key here though is obviously the ongoing safety, because I don't think there's anything more, and that's why it's good that you're head of the financial crime, because it is being targeted. Cryptocurrency, the hackers are out there, and you as a person investing, you need to make sure that you are working with an exchange that has the funds to keep up those safety nets.
Yeah,
great. Well, super. Thank you very much. I haven't seen. Oh, hold on. More questions. Sorry. Do they have the same encryption masks? Like, is it possible for someone who keeps their key and have a wallet to mix these up? Oh, it sounds like possibly you've got them mixed up. Maybe your private key and a wallet to mix them up. I don't know.
Yeah. So the private key is a string of letters and numbers that you use to access a private wallet, whereas the wallet address is also a string of numbers and letters, which makes it slightly confusing, but that is actually a publicly available string that you can use for other people to send crypto to.
Right. I've always thought of it as...
So don't give your private key.
I've always thought of the private key one as your safety. So you go to the bank and you're at the bank and you've got your safety deposit box, which has got an actual key, and that's your private key. Whereas you've got a bank account which you can share with people, but you're not going to share that key to your safety deposit box with anybody, and that's going to be very, very private. Whereas your bank account is something that you would, you'd be able to give to people. So I think, to me, that's how I always think of it. I'm always trying to work out how to explain this to myself in English. So yeah, so that's it. And I think just one last question, but I think we answered that, Eldrich. Will Luna be adding more cryptos to buy? I think the answer, Eva, was, as long as you, maybe just want to quickly answer that one again.
So we may, but if we do so, it's going to be the end result of quite a rigorous due diligence process that we have in place to ensure that when we do offer more coins, those coins are reliable and trustworthy in our view.
And I mean, we've seen so many of those that have not and have collapsed and all sorts of things. So I think that's good. For me, it feels, it gives me another level of comfort that if you've done the homework, because I don't have the kind of wherewithal to do that sort of homework. So if I know it's sitting on the Luno platform, I know, look, it's probably one of the main ones that I should be considering. Chris, you're just warning us about another scam, is when one is requested to send a certain amount of crypto to a fake exchange or wallet and have it doubled, etc. Don't fall for such scams. Yeah, we're seeing that all the time. And I must just tell you, Chris, and everyone listening, I mean, I have seen exchanges where they actually show it's a whole fake website. I think one was FX Trading. They called the platform was called FX Trading. You would go on, you would see your name there, you would see this amount of money sitting in there, and they tell that was your money, but it's all fake. They just don't actually exist. It's all just made up. And then they would convince you to pay more and more money because you could see it on the platform. So, but who is FX Trading? They weren't anybody. And then the minute we identified them, we had the FSCA do a warning on them. Overnight, they changed their name to a different platform. So, Chris, absolutely. And that is why I've been working a little bit with Luno to really try and understand the safety around this and that we identify safe exchanges. Okay, we had a question here for someone who wants to start buying crypto. Where do I start? I think we've covered quite a bit of that. I'm not sure if you came in a little late. What would you advise or recommend I buy? But really, you can just, if you download the app, You can go on, you can start with 10 Rand, as little as 10 Rand. Maybe you want to do 100 Rand. And I think, as Eva was saying, maybe wet your feet on Bitcoin, because that is the most familiar one, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are the two ones that are probably the most well known. Start with it and just see where you go. And maybe look also at the repeat buy. I like the repeat buy. Just automatically every month you're just putting in maybe a couple of 100 Rand automatically. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to panic every time Bitcoin crashes or gains up or whatever. You just leave it going off there. So I think that would probably be a good summary, I think, for anybody listening about how to start. Great. Well, that brings us to the end of our hour. So thank you all of you for joining us, and for those of you who hang on despite our technical issues earlier, so thank you. And this recording will be going up on Facebook and on YouTube, so if you missed the beginning of it, you're more than welcome to. And of course, drop me drop me any questions you have, and I can also always send it on to Eva if you want to continue the conversation. And so thank you to you, Eva.
Thank you very much for having me, Maya. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening in.
Great. Bye.
Bye-bye.